Well, thank you. And here we are on the 4th of July weekend. Bishop, big 4th of July weekend, 4-day weekend coming up here. And, you know, a lot of talk about patriotism and nationalism. And some people say, well, it's not good to be too nationalistic, you know. And I wonder what your thoughts on that. Can we be proud of our country and who we are as Americans?
Oh, I think so. I think we have to understand that. But at the same time, we recognize the goodness of other countries. We're not unique in the world. We have had a unique history in some ways of come to the aid of other nations, and First World War, Second World War, and all the other conflicts. Not that we're a warmonger country, but you know we are a country that has assisted others. There's some reticence today, looking back and saying, "Well, we got to have America first." Well, what does that really mean? Is it America only? Is America, you know, that when America's strong, we can help others? So many interpretations, but patriotism is important. Our country is something that we cherish, that we give our loyalty to, and when necessary, even our lives to defend the freedom that we have.
Mm-hmm. It's such a hot button issue, you know, and it's certainly become a political issue these days. Even so much as to think that a group like the Knights of Columbus, which, you know, they have a nice slogan for God and country, and some people think they're so radical they shouldn't even be considered for public office anymore.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
pretty.
what do you think of the Knights of Columbus and their for God and country? It's
well, it's a patriotic organization, really. It's a organization that is founded on religious principles, but is very patriotic. Fourth degree of Knights of Columbus, their whole focus is citizenship and participation in the civil society. So I mean, it's a good organization. I mean, when they're viewed as to the right, this is because so many people are so far to the left. Anything looks like it's right. Mm-hmm. So it's a very difficult culture we live in, where the only way is their way and not anybody else's way.
Mm-hmm. Some people like to have a one world mentality. They say we all belong to one world, and we should look more to international policing and international government. And how do we maintain our sense of who we are as Americans? And is it good to have that, you know, in face of all this one world mentality that's out there, Bishop?
Well, one world mentality is maybe a little extreme, but I do think something like the United Nations, if it works properly, can be a force that unites nations together for the better, for the good. Unfortunately, it's been politicized, so you have the left and the right fighting over so many different things that not much gets accomplished. Recently, one good thing happened. There's a agreement on migration, which I think is very well done when all is said and done. And if we could follow it, we would see some of the problems of migration in the world alleviated. But again, you need everybody to buy into it. The United States was not participating in that agreement. So it is a shame that we don't try to work together with others when we have some common interest, and when we can collaborate. We need to do that more.
Yeah, and of course, we're known as a nation of immigrants, and here in this diocese, we call ourselves the Diocese of Immigrants because so many people have started from other nationalities. But can there be limits on migration? You're an expert. You're an international expert on this.
Of course, there's limits on migration. I mean, it's not. There's something that cannot be limited. It can be limited, depending on the ability of the country to absorb people. Well, at the same time, there are other ways that we can facilitate people staying where they belong in their own home country. Most people would, if they had a possibility, I'd rather stay home. I'd like to have an economy that supports me. So we need to change the world. In a globalized society that we have today, this is even more possible than it was in the past. We can share the wealth of the world together and make sure that everybody is picked up and raised up. So that's where we need to go.